first. And What's Right with Nick Wright podcast. Nick, I'm being very preachy today. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. Sometimes people need it. You know, I haven't been to church in 14 years. So, you know, sometimes you sit down in front of the TV and it's like, hey, time for a good sermon. I'm with you, Joy. I haven't really, actually, I'll be honest, I didn't hear the very beginning of the show. So you might have said some really crazy things that I don't co-sign, but I assume I agree with you. You and I usually agree on this stuff. So yeah, I'm with you.
I do have some things I definitely disagree with you, but not strongly. It's like a soft disagree.
Oh, don't be wrong. Yeah.
Well, I'll start with Harden last night, obviously. So even though it was to the demise of my Heat, I enjoyed watching James Harden be old James Harden again. I liked seeing the excitement. You know, it was fun to watch as a basketball fan. I can take away my Heat fandom for a moment because I think they'll win the series anyway. And I anticipated that James Harden would be Miami James Harden, which, as we know, is a different environment than Philadelphia. But were you surprised that James Harden reverted back to what he's been for the rest of the series last night?
I mean, I was surprised it was as bad as it was for Harden and the Sixers as a whole. We can no longer rely on James Harden scoring 25 points, much less 35 points. I mean, once upon a time, James Harden had a streak of more than 30 consecutive games of 30-plus points. This is a guy who 23 times in his career has scored 50, 4 times has scored 60. And now if he gets half of that, we're like, wow, what a game. I also thought the commentary during Game 4 was a little insulting if you're James. Everyone kept talking about him turning back the clock like he was Tim Duncan in 2000. I'm sorry, like he was David Robinson in 2002, as opposed to a guy who should be at the tail end of his prime. I'll tell you what did bother me yesterday, Joy, and I don't want to hijack it in case you were going to ask about it, but I'll just take us there. I didn't like that folks were, and Barkley, who I adore, he got it started, saying that Embiid was distracted by not winning MVP. Embiid knew he didn't win MVP weeks ago when all of us knew Jokic won thanks to that straw poll Tim Bontemps did of actual voters. Embiid is acutely media savvy and aware. He knew he didn't win it. It's like we give guys credit for playing through injury for a moment, and then 24 hours later we forget he has a concussion, a broken face, and a torn-up wrist, and maybe that's why he wasn't great yesterday, especially after getting hit in the face. I didn't expect Harden to be great. I did think, Joy, Philly would win the series once Embiid came back because I thought Miami has no answer for him. But they have an answer for the version of Embiid that we saw last night. But I thought that was because he was physically compromised, not mentally somewhere else because he was upset that for the second straight year, MVP voters got it so egregiously, grossly, and ridiculously wrong.
I couldn't agree more, so no need to even recap it. I agree with everything you just said, and I said it earlier. It's not a Joel Embiid's fault. He cares so much about winning. He is dragging himself up and down that court. I am not laying that loss at the feet of Joel Embiid.
Can I ask you something about that?
Yeah.
And you said he cares so much about winning. We saw the man cry after the Kawhi Leonard play. And I understand Embiid's never been to a conference finals, let alone a finals. He doesn't have a long resume of great postseason accomplishments. But I feel like he should have the benefit of the doubt that this guy cares. And it frustrates me when guys' track records get so quickly forgotten or pushed aside because of a momentary either issue or just, in this case, it was just a hypothesis. There is nothing in Joel Embiid's basketball character that should lead us to believe that in Game 5 of a playoff series, his mind is somewhere else. And it bothers me when guys build up, a sweat equity, if you will, of playing the right way and competing, and then it's just forgotten. So I think you put it perfectly. There is nothing that have led us to believe he wasn't all in last night. He's just physically compromised, and your damn Miami Heat have a great defense. Those things all played into fact last night.
100%. So Luka is your, what is he, your estranged Slovenian son? What is it?
Estranged?
No?
How dare you? Large adult Slovenian son.
Large adult. Okay, so you guys still have a relationship.
Listen,
that's
people
important.
Say, Joy, people say Luka's too old to be my son. You've met one of my 23-year-old sons. He hosts the podcast with me. The idea that I couldn't have a 23-year-old Slovenian son as well. Joy Taylor, what do we say? Families come in all different shapes and sizes. He's my large adult Slovenian son. Go ahead.
No, it's absolutely. That's how it goes. I think people think that we are younger than we are, which is a compliment to us. We're actually quite old. But
well, certainly you, Joy.
Yes.
I think, yeah. But I don't know about me. I'm aging in dog years these days. But go ahead. Sorry, get to the point. Sorry.
Well, Luka, I love watching Luka, and he's one of the most fascinating players in the NBA to me because he just cannot be moved off of his speed. He's just going to do everything at the speed he wants to do it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he's a tremendous player, but he needs more. And the Suns are a complete team. And they're going to do what they did last night. Now, obviously the home team has won every single game, and I think this next game is going to be a tremendous, tremendous game. But we were kind of losing our minds a little bit about the Mavs, and now it's sort of settled down. That's how it goes in these series. This one's losing, this one's winning. What do the Mavs actually need to do to win this series? Because the Suns are not afraid to go on the road and win a game.
So I think that's correct. I think, however, if the Suns win Game 6, they win the series. Because I think that the amount of pressure that is going to be on Phoenix in a Game 7, for Chris Paul, this is, I believe, his last shot to win a title. And let me put it like this. He will never have a better shot than right now to win a title. Last year, up 2-0 in the finals on a team with Giannis coming off an injury, they lose 4 straight. This year, Ja is now out. The Warriors, to me, look shaky. We don't know who's going to come out of the East. They are the best record, the best team, home court. They're healthy now with Booker back. They should win, right? If they lose Game 6, and I think they will, Chris Paul's got to be feeling like, you got to be kidding me. And Chris Paul's been shaky the last few games. And Devin Booker keeps upping the ante on how much venom will be coming for him if they lose. The nonsense he pulled last night, Joy, on the Luka thing, and I love CP3, but you're going to talk about somebody flopping or faking getting hit in the face when your teammate is Chris Paul? You're going to do that, Devin Booker? Like that? And so if Luka wins the next 2 games, and the one thing the Mavs do have is the best player in the series, by far, that little show Devin Booker did last night is going to follow him a bit. To answer your question directly, what do they have to do? In Game 6, they need their, Reggie Bullock, don't go 0-for-5. Spencer Dinwiddie show up to 1 game this series. The role players have to help in Game 6 at home. And then in Game 7, they'll simply need an all-time great performance by Luka Doncic. He will have to go 40 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists in a Game 7 on the road, and I think he can do it. But Game 6, they need the role players to step up.
So you have Knicks club superstar. We are both party people. So this sounds like a fun club.
Yeah, we are.
You mentioned Devin Booker, who I don't understand why you have a beef with him. But I don't have a problem with this club's, the lists to get in the club. I generally don't like to go to places that have lists. It's a lot for me. I'm more of a dive bar girl. But occasionally I will attend something that you have to be on a list for.
Such a lie.
It's not true.
What a lie.
I go
Why
to stuff with lists all the
America,
time.
Joy Taylor?
Because I do also enjoy a dive bar. I've gone out with Alex. We don't go to bougie places.
We also don't discriminate against places you go out to. If it's a fun time, we're going to have a good time. But yes, we'd like to have a conversation. You want to be able to hear the person you're talking to. Have a good time.
Don't tell him my business, Nick. Don't tell him my business. We're talking about Club Superstar right now.
Listen, Dr. Joy Taylor, I'm not going to talk anybody's business. I'm simply going to say the idea that Dr. Joy Taylor doesn't show up to a place, walk right to the front of the velvet rope and say, my name's right there, excuse me, that's nonsense. That absolutely. Now, you might also go to Dollar Pabst on Tap night occasionally, but let's not pretend that the other doesn't happen. Now, if you would like to talk Club Superstar, we can. The rules for Club Superstar are 1 in, 1 out. If you think Devin Booker should, I just let Jason Tatum in. I had to kick out poor Anthony Davis. He got kicked out.
That's fair.
So it's Ja, Giannis, LeBron, Dame, Kawhi are up there. You have Embiid, Steph, KD, CP3, Luka, Jokic. Jokic is kind of sad in the MVP room all by himself, but he has his trophies to keep him company. And Tatum just got in. It is a 12-person fire code maximum. There's the most people we can have. So if you want to put in Devin Booker, I am putting it on you. who are you kicking out?
Okay, so
Can't have more than 12. We're not making exceptions.
I like the limit on the club. It's a very exclusive club. It should be an exclusive club for superstars. I'm 100% with you on Anthony Davis being kicked out. But kind of in the same space as Anthony Davis, I feel like, and I adore Kawhi Leonard, we have not seen him play basketball in quite some time. So I feel like that's arguable at this point. I do think he has some things to prove after not playing basketball for quite some time. And I love Kawhi. But I would actually argue that Booker should be in before Tatum. Booker's played in the finals. Tatum hasn't taken his team to a final. So I would argue that he should be in because of that. I'm not outraged at any of this.
Okay. No, it's all fair. Kawhi and Dame, because they were such long, well-spending, well-behaving patrons of Club Superstar, we're giving them a 1-year amnesty.
Okay.
They were excellent in last year's postseason. Kawhi was great in the playoffs last year, and then he tore his ACL. Dame was dropping 50 points in the playoffs last year, or 40-plus points, and then he had a tough year, mostly due to injury. So they have to earn their keep next season, but we're giving them a 1-year amnesty. Tatum versus Booker is an interesting one. I think Tatum's a better defensive player. Booker has been to a NBA Finals. Tatum, on the other hand, has been to the conference finals 3 times, and Tatum's never been on terrible teams. Booker was the centerpiece of terrible teams every year until Chris Paul walked into his life. Now, the question, I think, is going to be, if the Suns make the finals this year, will Booker get in above someone like Dame, or does CP3 walk out?
So you're still going to keep Tatum
the best player on the Suns?
You're still going to keep Tatum in if Booker goes to the finals again?
Tatum's earned his way in. Well, you can't just let Tatum in and then immediately make him leave. No one will want to come to the club and let you in and then be like, no, you got to leave. He just got in. He got in 10 minutes ago. He outplayed Kevin Durant in a playoff series.
Sometimes you act a fool and you got to get kicked out.
Yes.